Welcome to Levant TV headlines. The death toll of the twin car bombs in the central Syrian city of Homs has reached 49, with 115 civilians injured, most of them children. Islamic State fighters are at the gates of a key Kurdish town on the Syrian border with Turkey as its parliament prepares to vote on authorizing military intervention against the jihadists. Jailed militant leader Abdullah Öcalan has warned that peace talks between the PKK and the Turkish state will come to an end if Islamic State militants are allowed to carry out a massacre in a predominantly Kurdish town on the Syrian border. A Taliban suicide attacker has killed 3 people on an Afghan army bus in Kabul, the latest deadly strike against since the new government signed a deal for US troops to stay in the country. And former Guantanamo Bay detainee Moazzam Beg has walked free from a British prison after prosecutors dropped 7 terror charges relating to the conflict in Syria. And now let's have a look at top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting from Beirut, the Daily Star reports that Health Minister Wael Abu Faour says negotiations with the Islamic State militants holding nearly 24 Lebanese soldiers and policemen hostage have entered a positive phase. The paper also reports that jailed Kurdish militant leader Abdullah Öcalan has warned that peace talks between his group and the Turkish state will come to an end if ISIS militants are allowed to carry out a massacre in a predominantly Kurdish town on the Syrian border. From the UAE, the Khalij Times is reporting that student leaders of Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests warned that if the territory's top official does not resign by today, they will step up their actions, including occupying several important government buildings. The paper also reports Dubai, world's biggest creditors, have agreed on a deal to renegotiate its debt repayment schedule. Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum confirmed to reporters on the sidelines of the second Africa Global Business Forum 2014 in Dubai yesterday. The Egypt Independent reports that Sohag police have killed a 27-year-old suspect involved in 5 cases of abduction and robbery and arrested another following a shoutout with police. The paper also reports that Egypt has offered to train pro-government forces battling rival armed groups in Libya, stepping up efforts to eradicate what it says is a threat to its own stability from the anarchy engulfing its neighbors. And now the Middle East headlines from papers here in the UK. The Guardian leads Middle East news reporting that the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas will seek a vote at the UN Security Council demanding that Israel ends its occupation of Palestinian territories and East Jerusalem, which began in 1967, by November 2016. The paper says the emergence of the text, which has not been formally put to the 15-member council, comes amid a sharp war of words between US officials and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about the announcement of plans to build 2,600 new housing units. The Independent reports that Israel's national airline is facing outrage over what critics call the bullying of women on flights by ultra-Orthodox Jewish men who refuse to sit next to them. The paper says that the issue was brought to international attention last week when a flight from New York to Tel Aviv had a group of Haredi Jewish passengers refusing to sit next to women, believing that the sexes should be segregated. And the Telegraph leads Middle East news reporting that Kurdish fighters backed by US-led coalition airstrikes were locked in a fierce battle yesterday to prevent a key Syrian border town from falling into hands of jihadists. The paper adds that the heavy clashes in Kobane on the border between Turkey left at least 10 people dead overnight. And now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines in international papers. From Beijing, the Global Times leads Middle East news reporting that at least 32 people have been killed and over 115 others injured when twin blasts rocked Syria's central province of Homs yesterday. The paper says the twin bombings targeted 2 elementary schools in the pro-government neighborhood of Ikrima in Homs, and the majority of the casualties were school students. And finally, the New York Times reports that the Egyptian authorities have confiscated all the copies of one of the country's largest private newspapers in order to censor an article just days after President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi vowed in an American television interview that there was no limitation on freedom of expression in Egypt. The paper says the article in the newspaper Al-Masri Al-Yawm was the latest installment in a serialized interview conducted with a senior spy before he died. And for more updates, please visit our website levant.tv. Thanks for watching. We'll be with you again tomorrow, and bye for now.